So the dynamics of what we did haven't changed. We need to talk to people, get appointments, to get clients, and have appointments, right? And that's it. So we're just doing it differently now.
Gene Rivers, you are so adored. You are such an icon of a business person on many levels. You have thrived in real estate specifically. You are an owner of multiple brokerages and offices. You own a title company and a development company. And you and Rebecca have built an amazing team of like-minded professionals who have sold literally well over 6,000 homes historically and properties, and leader of leaders, senior master faculty.
Oh, please, it's enough. I'm getting tired listening to this.
Hey, you've earned it. You've earned it, right? And so just, I could go on, yet I want to get everyone home in time for dinner.
Yeah.
So you do. You've poured into so many of us, including myself, for over 15 years now. And we just really look up to you. You've weathered three economic meltdowns. You have weathered hurricanes happening in your region.
Yeah.
And you really have. You've thrived in so many challenging times. And so these are unprecedented times for many of us, right? For most of us. And I would just love to open up with, in terms of what your focus has been. Of course, we have a responsibility to remain healthy and responsible and safe and make sure our families are healthy and safe at this time. And truly carefully setting that aside for a moment, in terms of your work world, being a leader of leaders, could you just give us a glimmer into what your focus has been post COVID hitting us?
Well, yeah, that's a lot to talk about, but I think the leader's responsibility in any kind of climate that's negative is first and foremost to have a clear vision of what's going on. In fact, when any kind of a shift hits, up or down, but the ups are fun, the downs are not fun, but you do the same thing in any shift, which is E to P. If you look at what the 6 perspectives are about, E to P says if you want to have a breakthrough, and it doesn't say this in the materials, but it's a breakthrough when times are bad or good. In other words, if times are good and you want to really take off, that's an E to P. But if times are bad and you want to continue to be successful, that's an E to P. And the number one thing you do is focus. So what the leader's responsibility is, first and foremost, is to focus on what the devil's really happening. Get really clear about what's really happening. And I've heard a lot of people talk about we're now in the new normal, and no, you're not.
Please talk to us about that, because I've also heard that, and it's kind of a pet peeve of mine too.
Well, the reality is there's 2 waves that are going on right now. And the first wave, we're in it up to our eyeballs, and that's the virus. The coronavirus wave, it popped up, started in China, came to countries all over the world, came to America in January, and that wave is now literally moving back and forth across the country. We have a lot of people that didn't know they were carriers, and they still don't, and they're just running around the country, not nearly as much as they were. But it was only 4 weeks ago. We had spring break in Florida, and we had people on all of our coastlines, both of them from cities all over the place, a lot from New York and New Jersey. And they either came bringing virus or they left carrying virus, right? Now, this is going on all over the country. So that wave is why we're all shut down, because that wave is everywhere, and it's in the smallest counties and the biggest cities, and that wave is everywhere. And that shut us down. So in January, we all had our plan for the year, and we all knew, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to go big in 2020. And you had your plan, and you were going to work like this. And now 3 months later, you're working absolutely like this, pure digital. Most of the country, people are doing very little outside. They're doing digital. They're online. They're on Zoom calls, doing consultations, doing showings with videos and pictures, getting contracts done, right? I mean, it's a digital world. And nobody saw that coming. Nobody. here's the funny thing. Everybody knew that the way things were trending in business in general and as well as our industry, we were all going to go from doing things this way to digital and more tech oriented transactional experiences for buyers and sellers. We knew it was coming, but this forced us to go there now. And that's the challenge that people have. So my point is the leader's vision has to be real clear about what the devil is happening. And I see this wave as having another 3-4 months. I hope no more than that, but it's not going to be over in April and it ain't going to be over in May. So I think if we're lucky, it'll be over in June-ish if we're lucky. But I'm thinking it's got several months. But the main issue is all of the pandemics, all of them have a shelf life. And if you can go all the way back to 1918, or whether it's the great flu epidemic in 18, or swine flu, or avian flu, or Ebola, or all, you look at all of them and they all have a shelf life measured in months, not years. And the average is actually 7 months. So if it started for us in January, it would literally be classic for it to be over by July. And that over doesn't mean disappeared. It just means in the entire country, all new cases are radically declining. Deaths are radically declining. And I'm literally describing Hunan province right now in China. And they are taking down the temporary hospitals. They're redoing the barricades. Businesses are open again. They're not normal. People are walking around with masks to this day. And there are cases, but very, very few. So I think that time period, it's not the new normal. This time period is what we do when a pandemic has us in its grips. And what you do there is all digital. You're over here, you're all digital. And when it's passed, then we will have a new wave, and that new wave is the economy. Where is the economy once this is over? And every month the pandemic has us in its grip, it's doing damage to our economy. And we're not going to know how bad the damage is until the dang thing is over. So what I see is we have 3-4 more months of what to do to sell houses in a pandemic world. And then we'll have the new normal. And the new normal will be, what does it look like going forward in real estate? And here's the most important point about that. Remember, we all started the year thinking we were going to be doing this, and now we're doing that.
Yep.
It's not going to go back to that. It's going to go back in the middle, because what's literally happening right now is that a huge amount of the population, a huge amount, are at home working in place. And the work they're doing is often what we're doing right now. It's Zoom calls. It's Google chat groups. It's online, and it's technology. So literally our consumers, our buyers and sellers are being schooled in the digital experience themselves. The agents are being schooled in it. The public is being schooled in it. And guess what? A lot of them are discovering. This is a good way to do business. You know, consumers are liking it. A lot of agents are liking it. The research is short, but the research we have is that buyer and seller consultations done on the online platform like Zoom are actually shorter in time than at the conference room or in their house, and they're actually higher in conversion rates. So if something saves us time and has more effectiveness, why on earth would we go backward? And we're not. But the fact is, there are some consumers that still want the tactile hand-holding, I'd like to meet you face-to-face experience. So we're still going to need to do old school, but we're going to definitely do new school. So we're going to be there, and that will be the new normal. That. So I know I'm answering your question in a very long-winded way, but the number one thing is to understand what the devil's going on, and it's this virus wave, and then in a new economy, very different than the economy we had in January and February, and whatever that looks like will be determined in 3 or 4 months. So I'm not worried about what I'm building to do then. I'm focusing on surviving now, and that's what you have to do, and survive now. So as a leader, we don't have it in career visioning, but in Recruit Select, we had something called organizational assessments. And when you do an organizational assessment, there's only 3 states of existence in an organization. And we are right now, all of us, All of us, all market centers, all agent team businesses, and all agents are at level one. And level one means something very strongly disruptive has happened, and the leader has to show up every day, every day. And you have to talk about your vision. I know what's going on. I have a plan to execute, and we're going to get through this. So the one thing I know, this is my last answer to your first question. The one thing I know more than anything, you introduced me saying all of the junk I've been through, the negative trends I've been through, and it's true. But what I know for a fact is during the virus and whatever the economy is like to come, underneath all of that, underneath all of it, is people wanting to buy and sell real estate. And they're there. They're there right now. And they'll be there every day and every week. And they're going to be listings taken and contracts pended and closings happening every week, everywhere in the country. So your only issue is, are you going to figure out how to navigate the new situation we're in for the time being until we can get grounded in the new economy and come up with a longer term vision and a plan? And that's what my job is to bring that clarity and bring that force of confidence that I hope people understand. We are not out of business. In most states in the nation, we are considered essential. Grocery stores are open because people have to have food. And real estate is essential because people have to have shelter. That's it. So there's money to be made, ladies and gentlemen, and there's actually market share to take over because a lot of your competitors are sitting back going, you know what? I'm going to wait till this virus thing blows over and then I'm going to get back into it. And the minute you know that's going on, you got to realize this is a window in time for 2 or 3 months for you to go and grab business that they will get it when they get back in the game unless you get it now. And that's what a lot of top agents will tell you about a recession. They don't want to say this. They don't like the pain part of a recession, but they like to take market share opportunity of a recession.
Right.
Because when times are good, any idiot can sell real estate, and we all know it because they all get into real estate when times are good, right?
That's okay. Right. They certainly do. So,
sorry it took me so long.
Preach. And it's so true what you're saying, because the new normal isn't even here yet. Technically, this pandemic, right, is a season. So when we think about tactically what these agents are doing, for example, you've always led us that when you help someone buy, let's say, one property for $200,000, and you have them do that once a year, every year for 10 years, you've empowered that person to own $2 million of real estate, right? Yeah. How can we adapt that tactic right now in terms of our client base to inspire people to wake up and frankly just take the opportunity that inventory is low, right? Because some homeowners are either nervous to have it on or not as motivated, and yet the buyer demand is also kind of funky, right? So how are you, your team, what would you say to that tactic in terms of inspiring people? Now, we are in New Jersey. Our price points are in quite, at the 200 mark, but let's even say 400,000 over 10 years is 4 million. How can we adapt that and really use that tactic to help our clients grow at this time?
Well, I mean, you're talking about investor mindsets, and I'm more focused right now on owner-occupant mindsets. I'm not against the investor. I'm thinking in the next wave, which is the new economy, there are going to be more opportunities to talk about investing. I think the mindset of most people right now is about safety and security, not just in health, but also in their economies, in their housing. And I think the fundamental thing we said underneath all of this is people wanting to buy or sell real estate, and I'm really talking about owner occupants.
So in the owner occupants, how are you bringing that calm?
Yeah.
And that safety?
That's it.
Time?
No, that's it. That's a great question. And it's really very simple. It's not complicated, but it is a lot of work. You have to talk to people. you have to talk to all of your Met database, and you need to talk to all of them as fast as you can. I'd recommend you use a collateral material, a tool or two or three to support your conversations with them. We all know that in your board, there are properties being listed every week, and contracts are being executed every week, and closings are happening every week. But the public doesn't see that. What they think is real estate must be ground to a halt, just like restaurants are ground to a halt. But they don't see it. So it's essential, and I mean that, it's essential that everybody shift and do a weekly report card on real estate that they email out. This has no cost. They email out to their entire database. So whether it's a geographic farm where you have a lot of email addresses, or it's your Met and past clients, which you must have all their addresses, you need to send them every 7 days. The nature of real estate in the middle of the coronavirus: 127 new listings in the last 7 days, 114 properties under contract in the last 7 days, and 111 properties closed in the last 7 days. 1 week later, same story: activity, activity, activity. When people see that, it's a simple thing. When they see activity, 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 the question is no longer, gee, can you buy or sell real estate now? They already know the answer to that vividly. They know, hey, I don't know how they're doing it, but apparently a lot of people are still buying and selling real estate. Geez, I wonder what it's like. And then another piece of collateral material is very simple: a one-pager that says how to buy and sell real estate in the digital universe. And well, here, I'll show you. Should be something like, where is it at? Something like that, right on your left. Virtual home buying program. Bop, 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 bop. And that kind of a handout that you send out to your database. So every week they get the real estate report card, and every week you should be sending them a piece of collateral material. That's one. Right next to it is another way to look at it. This is another one. If you are able to do them, here's one on open houses. Here's why we protect your home during an open house. Tips if you're a seller, tips if you're a buyer. If you don't have collateral material like this, you're not treating it like it's a doable thing. When you have all of this kind of stuff, what you're saying is, here's the report card. Clearly, property is being bought and sold. And here's the realities of how we do it. We have it figured out. We have a map. We have a plan. This is doable. So you want to buy or sell, that's the game. And the reason you need to get on the phone and talk to everybody is because underneath everything, people are wanting to buy or sell real estate. We put a sign up on a property a week ago, coming soon, a week ago Saturday. I put it up. And we have 7 days that we can run that in my market. So we ran it for 7 days. Following Saturday, it went live. And our showings are very spaced apart because we're going to go in after a showing and clean the house down. And we make it be very, very far apart, right? To protect the seller and the buyer and the agents, right? So there was one in the morning, one in the afternoon, another one on Sunday morning, and that happened to be Easter. And all three people made offers, and it was sold by Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
And yeah. And the seller went into this very concerned about their safety. They're in their 80s, and they were very concerned about their safety and not sure if they should try to sell it right now. And after they read what we do in order to protect them: gloves for the buyer, booties for the buyer, wiping the house down before they come, wiping the house down after they come. It's going to take work for you to make people feel comfortable that this is survivable, that this is doable. But if you just say, oh, it'll be okay, they're not going to trust you. That's not the right attitude. The attitude is we have a detailed written plan on how we protect you and still get your home sold. And I think.
No, that's fantastic. Go ahead.
No, well, I just think that's the issue. You gotta show the consumers you're not dodging this. In fact, you're dealing with it head on, and I have an exact plan on how to deal with it and cope with it. And remember, you got 3 or 4 months you're going to be dealing with this head on, so you can either come up with a plan to sell houses or just sit on the sidelines and wait.
Many of our agents have been texting directly to their past clients, fear of influence, this is how we responsibly and digitally sell properties. And it's great visuals like that. Unfortunately, in the state of New Jersey right now, we're paused on open houses because there's a one-on-one showing limit per
Yeah,
se.
yeah, we are too. Yeah, we're doing virtual open houses now. Yeah.
Fair enough. Great. Awesome. Yep. So, in terms of how you're getting that message out, it might, an email is probably not the only method, right? It's a one-on-one conversation and following up with the visual in terms of articulating this story and how we're selling homes.
Yes, and what it really boils down to is you having a very clear, specific time block every day. You know exactly what you're going to do, and your day right now should look very different than your day in January, February, or even the beginning of March. Your day looks very different. If you look at the process again of E to P, of change, just change. Change is always involving three basic things happening. One is there something you're doing when you're going to change? You're going to hire an admin person, or you're going to hire a buyer agent, or you're going to do a new lead gen thing. There's something you're doing that you need to do more of. There'll be something you're doing you need to stop. Just stop. And then there's something you're not doing you need to start doing. And growth and change is all about those three things. So the coronavirus came in and it forced us to stop, right? Growth can come in any direction. And now this said, okay, you're no longer going to meet with buyers and sellers. How's that fit? And then boom, all of a sudden we're not meeting with buyers and sellers. But guess what? We got a lot of time now, a lot of time. So all along you were talking, everybody here was talking to their Mets and past clients, and probably very irregularly, or some you talked to regularly and others you didn't talk to at all. But it wasn't uniform that you were in high communication with all of them. Well, guess what? That's exactly what you need to do right now. So you have the time to literally spend 3 hours in the morning, starting at 8 a.m. on the phone with your Met and past client database. And you need to be calling them and you need to be talking to them about the situation in real estate. And if you're sending out that real estate report card every 7 days, that's a prompt on what to talk about. It's very simple. Hey, Bob, Gene Rivers, how you doing, buddy? Yep, I instituted a new report card. I think you've been getting it in your email. You've been getting it now for 3 weeks. I don't know if you looked at it. You did? Great. The point I'm trying to get across, Bob, is there are people that were last fall thinking about moving in the spring. They were going to maybe in April or May get their house on the market and get it sold and go find a house and buy it. And now they're thinking, gee, I don't think we can do that plain anymore. And the point of my report card is to show you, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's going to be different. It's going to be digital, but you can. So you're
So that's your sphere. And I feel a lot of the agents, mega agents, even newer agents are doing a great job at connecting with the people they know. I feel trepidation and hesitation around agents making outbound calls to people they don't know during this time, such as expires, maybe for sale by owners, because their internal fear is that they're not going to be well received during these times. Well, how could you call me on my house at this time? I think is the drunk monkey or the fear. So what would the conversation sound like calling a non-met, someone you don't know, that's either an expired or for sale by owner today?
Well, those two are very different than just a cold call to a neighborhood, say. But those people have raised their hands and said, I'd like to sell my house, right? Now,
Right.
that's a powerful thing for you to know about somebody. So the call is very simple. Mr. Johnson, my name is Gene Rivers, Keller Williams Realty, the Rivers team. I'm calling you today to ask you a simple question. Are you still interested in selling your home? And they're going to say whatever they're going to say, yes or no. You say, well, the reason I'm asking you that is because real estate is still being bought and sold. In fact, I have a weekly report card I'm sending out. I would like to send it to you if you'd like to receive that. Would you like to receive that? Maybe. I don't know. Why? What do you really want? Well, what I want to know is this. If you're worried about the virus or you're worried about the economy, as either one of those relate to your selling your home, I'm here to talk to you about it. My role is as a consultant, Mr. Johnson. I'm here to help you. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a consultant. And if there's a way that I can help you, I'd like to. So, what are your concerns? What are you feeling? And it boils down to, do you want to sell your house? And if the answer is, well, yes, you would, despite all this, then I have a roadmap on getting that done to mitigate risk for you and your family. Would you like to meet and talk about that? When I say meet, Mr. Johnson, it'll be a meeting on a Zoom call where you and your significant other and I will get together. We'll look at some charts, some handouts. I'll email them to you, and we'll talk about how we can mitigate risk and get your house sold. Would you like to do that?
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. And it's all about helping people. It's not about anything else. It's about helping people. The situation we're in creates real fear in some people, some fear in other people, and very little or no fear in other people, right? Everybody
That's
reacts
so
differently
true.
to it, right?
I
So,
know the doctor clients and dentists, they have very low fear during these times. Maybe they're just exposed to health concerns on a regular. So if they need to sell, they want to make it happen. They're pedal to the metal. In fact, it's fascinating. It's,
well, they have the gear, they have the PPE gear, right?
yeah,
But they have knowledge about how you can mitigate risk. I mean, there's no question about that.
sure.
So I don't think the issue is any more than an hour, hour and a half on the phone in the morning with your A's and B's. I got to believe people that are on this call had a pipeline that you've been building in your career constantly. You're always adding in people for next month and the month after. You meet people say they're not going to do it this year, but maybe next year in the spring, you put those people in there. So as you move through the year, every month, you got a new crop of people that this is their month. And those are the people you need to be on the phone every morning verifying. Bob, it's April 1st, April Fool's Day, and the April Fool joke is on all of us, and it's called the coronavirus. But there's another trick hidden in that, which is you can still sell houses. And I'm calling you today because last November, and then verified by me in February, you said you want to put your home on the market in April. Are we still going to do that, Bob? Well, we're not sure. We're kind of concerned. Well, that's why I'm calling, Bob. If you have fears about the virus or concerns about the economy, I want to talk to you about both of those just to educate you, Bob. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but don't say no to selling your house because of fear about the virus, because we can actually get it done and still mitigate the risks. And don't say no about the economy necessarily. I got to know more about your situation, but you can still buy and sell real estate right now. So, what's the issue, Bob, and what should we talk about? And
Right.
that and that's the approach. Because here's what's going on: everybody's pipeline is blowing up. A bunch of people don't want to do it. A bunch of people can't do it because they lost one income in the house, can't get a loan, right?
Right.
But you got to find out about all that, and then you got to reprioritize who you focus on. So you literally have to be closing out your old pipeline and building a new pipeline, because there are people that aren't going to do it now, but they are going to do it in 6 months or a year from now. And you need to move them. You need to plug them in. You need to stay in touch. And you need to be sending them more communication, not less, that report card every 7 days. So they start to get confidence that we can sell our house. This can happen. You build confidence by communication, and communication is mail, call, see. So you need to be mailing them, you need to be calling them, and then when you get somebody that starts to look like, oh, I got a little tickle, I might want to buy or sell, then you need to get on a Zoom call and see them,
Mm.
right? And that's no different than the old days. Mail is used to create conversations or support them. The call is to develop the interest in the relationship and move towards the appointment. And the C is the appointment. So the dynamics of what we did haven't changed. We need to talk to people, to get appointments, to get clients, and have appointments, right? And that's it. So we're just doing it differently now.
Right. I think Gary told us that it's business as usual in an unusual way. Right.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's
Right.
exactly right.
So as we put a bow on it and wrap up, so many great takeaways we're hearing. Get in front of it, right? Communicate, come from the heart,
Yeah.
right? Be sensitive, and yet inspire people to move forward, because real estate, thank goodness, in New Jersey is essential. So, and we're doing it safely and responsibly. So when we look at team leaders, mega agents, operating principals, looking for talent right now, uh, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. Are you seeing that as well in this climate?
Yeah. Turbulent times create questions in people's minds about are they actually in the right position for their life. So some people are going to do a career change. Some people are going to switch companies. I mean, in our industry right now, if you look at what's going on, all these companies that looked all high and mighty don't look so high and mighty anymore. I mean, Compass, no iBuying program, laid off 15% of their staff. Redfin furloughed 40% of the agents. 40% of their agents lost their job, and they went there because of the steady paycheck, and now that's gone. So how's that working out? You know?
The one
Um,
who giveth can taketh away, right?
yeah. Well, they're a lot of their platforms are not nearly as reliable and dependable as the Keller Williams model. I used to own a Remax franchise, Rebecca and I, and we got rid of it, not because it was a bad model, but because we really thought Gary Keller had created what would be the most sustainable long-term model in the industry that we had ever seen. And lo and behold, during the great collapse in 08, 09, 010, Keller Williams had its fastest growth rate. So while everybody else was going like this in the industry, we were going like that. And here we are right now. Realogy, the head of Realogy, gave up 90% of his salary, made all of his direct reports cut their salaries by 50%. What the devil's going on over there? They don't know what they're doing, right? Everybody's losing everything. And we are sitting here, and Gary Keller's pumping 20 million into coaching for agents, free coaching for agents. And these Zoom calls and all the training programs, we already had the book. We already had the dang book, right? So
Yeah.
we're just going right back to what we already know is what we should focus on, and we're all focusing on it. This is a company that knows what it's doing, and people just need to pay attention to it. And the answers are there, where the activities are here. This is a time for us to not only take market share from other agents in the marketplace. Think about all those Redfin agents who are no longer talking to customers. Think about all those Realogy agents that are concerned about where they're at. They're turning around looking up, going, this company looks weak. I don't know if I'm in the right place. Our market center team leaders should be focusing on that. People need to hear we have solutions, not problems at Keller Williams.
Right. That's well, we wrote the book on it. You're
That's right.
absolutely
That's
right on that. That's for sure. Well, we have about 2 minutes. You can type your questions in here. We also want to shed a light on your geographic market and where you are in terms of your sales team.
Well, I have my wife and I look at it kind of funny. We have multiple sales teams because we have offices across North Florida. So our brokerage group covers from St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Amelia Island on the Atlantic Ocean, all the way over to Destin, Florida on the northern Gulf Coast. And our brokerage group in 2019, the rankings just came out. We were number 124 in the Real Trends Top 1,000. So that group is doing really well. And then the Rivers team is moving right along. We've been averaging a couple hundred houses a year for 18 years. So,
Ringing the rivers,
yeah, baby.
right?
Yeah.
High
North
five.
Florida, we got you covered. Just give me a call.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And you've dominated a specific community of homes year over year over year.
Yeah. Well, it's about presence. If you're present, it's about same thing we talked about. It's about mail, and it's email or snail mail, and it's about calls, and it's about see. You need to be present. You need to see them. Go to the homeowners meetings, go to the schools where all the families send their kids that live in the neighborhood, be seen at those events, support, the teams. Your banner should be on the back fence, right on the field. I mean, all of this stuff all comes together where you have top of mind presence and trust. And trust. People trust you, right? And that's it.
That's right. And that's how you dominate. We are so grateful. Gene Rivers, thank you a million. Be
Oh, sure.
well, stay safe, and all the respect and admiration to you and Rebecca. And thank you a million for your time.
Sure. Thank y'all. Good luck.